Welcome back, Vendetta Sports Hockey Show. Just Gavin is here today. Emma Brown is skipping out on us because the Islanders stink. So just me and Gavin today. I'll do a little bit less of just pure hosting and more speaking, I guess. I have a couple good segments. We'll see how it goes. But we'll jump right into on or off sides here. On or off sides here, of course, the segment is if you believe this statement is true, it is on sides. If you believe the statement is false, you will say it's off sides. Gavin, this is one of the newest members of your fantasy team, Matt Duchene. Matt Duchene's kind of hot right now. We don't really know what's going on. We haven't seen this version of Matt Duchene in a while. 9 goals, 7 assists in 16 games, so he's a point per game player right now for the Nashville Predators. And nobody really on his team is all that talented except for Roman Josi, so he's doing a lot of this work on his own. Matt Duchene, on or off sides, he's all the way back.
I'm going to go onside right now, but I was a little bit disappointed that you said the only player on his team is UC Saros. Is Roman Josi, not UC Saros, who you had in your team.
Well, I mean, to help him score.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, onsides, when you speak about centermen in the NHL, only Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who are centermen, have more goals than him this season. He's been doing extremely well with Nashville. He seems to have his jump back. He seems to have a little bit of his sparkle back. That obviously originally drafted by the Colorado Avalanche. He was the first jersey I ever had. Went to Ottawa, lost his way, and now is starting to find it again with Nashville. So I'm going to say onside right now. I just hope I don't jinx it because I need him to come in big this week for fantasy. I can't lose 2 weeks in a row. But as of right now, yeah, Matt Duchene's been a revelation.
I'm going off sides. I don't believe it. I until, maybe midway through the season he keeps doing this, then maybe I'll buy back in. But, I mean, he's been bad for a while. He was awful in Ottawa. He was horrendous all of last year. I need to see more. I'm not buying in yet. But, maybe we'll see a good version of him. All right, last one for on or off sides, and this will kind of transition to the next topic. I don't even know what I was saying. The New York Islanders offense is broken. They are currently 31st in the league in goals scored, 29 goals in 13 games total, only ahead of the Arizona Coyotes, and we know how bad they are. So, on or off sides, Islanders offense broken.
Right now, it's broken. Onside. I don't know what's going on. They've got the talent. There's no doubt about that. And I don't doubt for a second that they're going to come out of it. They will come out of it. But right now, you've got no other option but to say there's something not quite working for the Islanders. To be the only team other than the Coyotes to have scored that many goals, it's not good.
This is a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals and they can't score at all.
Exactly, and they can't. Their defense is good, but they can't rely on their defense. They need.
I mean, you got to put the puck in the net at some point.
Exactly, and they need their top guys like Barzal to actually show up, and score goals. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're looking for from Barzal. That's what you're hoping for. But they're a team that I'm worried about right now. If I'm an Islander fan, I'm worried about the playoffs because you got all those teams that we mentioned, like the Flyers and the Bruins and all them ahead of them on the East Coast right now. We also have the Detroit Red Wings, who, as much as it will pain me and Emma to say, are doing extremely well this season. I don't know if they'll be pushing for a playoff place come the end of it, but I think they'll be there or thereabouts. And that doesn't sit well for the Islanders because there's a lot of teams right now around that areas that want to be in the playoffs and the Detroit Red Wings rebuild right now might not be the best time for them to make the playoffs, but with the players they have and what they're doing, I mean, they're speeding it up real quick.
I don't know if like, are we sure the Islanders are talented? Like,
No, they are.
this is the same team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals. I get it, but we saw Montreal get hot at the right time. They went to the finals, and they're really bad this year. Is it possible that the Islanders really aren't that good? They got a little bit of a magic going. They won some playoff series because of their defense, and now the offense is to the point where it's not sustainable and they can't win.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think their offense is having a down year so far, and again, as I said, I think they will come good. There's too many good players on that offense to continue this slump. But the longer they go playing like this, the harder and harder it's going to get. They need Barzal to turn this around quick. Like, they need him to start being the Matt Barzal that everyone thinks he is. And I know you wrote in your article that
which is where we're going next.
Goal in 2 years or something like that. You know, it's
one
bad.
power play goal in 2 years.
It's really, really bad. They need him to be. And here's the thing: like, it's not these great players do go through this. You know, McKinnon went through a couple of seasons where you really sat there and you thought to yourself, is he going to be a number one bust? Is he going to be a number one overall pick bust? And then he figured it out and he turned around. The Islanders need Barzal to figure it out and turn around, but they need him to do it now. Because the problem with where the Red Wings fans will give them time to go through that rebuild, and if they do well this season, the fans will be happy, but there's no real expectations there. They could be Stanley Cup, to me anyway, they could be Stanley Cup winners. They could be. They are legit contenders. But for the Islanders to be contenders, they need Barzal to turn up. And if he's not going to turn up, they're in trouble. They're in really
so I wrote an article declaring Matt Barzal maybe a little bit overrated. But I don't know. I just find it because last year you traded him in fantasy, and he was borderline downright awful for me. To the point where I was like, I probably should have cut him. Like, somebody else on the free agent market would have been better than what he was last year because he was not good. And now this year, the entire team just isn't scoring. He scored against the Lightning, but he's still not averaging a point per game. He's like, I think he's got 10 points in 16 games or something like that. Something similar to that. One power play goal in the last 2 years, not great at all. I don't know. He's your star player. He hasn't come close to his point production since, his rookie year was probably his best year, which is weird.
Yeah, and that does happen. McKinnon had a good rookie year and then fell off for a little bit and then came back strong. But they need to. For Barzal. It needs to be now. He needs to figure it out. It's because the Islanders have real limits hanging over them when it comes to cap salary and whatnot. And they need to be thereabouts come the end of the season. And if memory serves me right, you traded him last season for Gabriel Landeskog, and up to that point, Gabriel Landeskog had not done an awful lot for the Avalanche. And then you traded him, and Landeskog just went off. The end of the season was just absolutely amazing. Where I think what Barzal with the problem is I don't necessarily think he's a goal scorer. I think he's a playmaker, and I think he needs someone on his line that can shoot the puck. But when he does score goals, they're highlight reel goals.
Oh yeah.
So then everyone just kind of goes, "Well, why isn't he doing that more?" That's not the way he plays. That's not what he does.
Which is my whole point on it. He skates the hell out of the puck, and then there are moments where he just looks, wow, what did he just do? Holy shit. But it doesn't happen that often.
No, it really doesn't. And that's something that he needs to figure out. It's something that, as a young player, a lot of people go through. Like, what type of player am I? Like, you can be one type of player in the juniors and in college and whatnot. But when you come to the NHL, you need to figure out, what type of player am I going to be? Am I going to be a pass first? Am I going to be a playmaker? Am I going to be a power forward? Am I going to be a grinder? What role am I going to play for this team to help me get a Stanley Cup and to help them get a Stanley Cup? And I don't think Barzal's really figured out, or I don't think the Islanders and Barzal have figured out what that is for him yet. I think they rely on him to score goals, but he's not really a goal scorer.
All right. Last segment I have here. We're going to see how this goes. Who's hot and who's not? This is just goalies. You know, they can be kind of up and down throughout the year. So we'll see how this goes. Who's hot, who's not. And then maybe we'll see if it's something that will stick or if it's just kind of a flash in the pan. First name I have here, Jake Ottinger. He was just called up because Braden Holtby is hurt. Played pretty well. The Stars beat the Red Wings last night. They won that game 5-2, and Ottinger, for the most part, was pretty good all around. 28 saves, 933 save percentage. Obviously, it's just one game, but can Jake Ottinger start to carve out a role here for the Stars?
I've been hearing about Jake Ottinger for the last couple of years, as he's the future star for the Stars.
Yep.
That's why it surprised me in the summer when they went out and got Holtby. Because they now have Bishop, who I believe is still injured. Bishop,
He's supposed to be
Dobin,
coming back this year, too.
Bishop, Daubert, and Holtby. So, to me, if Bishop's going to be out, even at the start of the season, if you knew Bishop was going to be out, if you truly believed in Ottinger, it would have been Godobin and Ottinger. And then if Ottinger wins the position, then he wins the position. Godobin becomes your backup, which he's more suited.
Ottinger started a lot of games for them last year, even.
Yeah, which makes me just wonder that they don't believe, they either one, don't think he's ready yet, or they two, they don't believe in him. Now, I know he played against the Colorado Eagles there a while back and let in 5 goals. So, and that Colorado Eagles team is not good right now because most of their players are playing for the Avalanche because of the amount of injuries they have. Until he does it, I'm gonna say no. He's not gonna be. He's not the bona fide starter in Dallas. Until he actually takes a position, runs with it, and does something, then I'm gonna say no. Just because he's
I would
been
agree.
bandied about for so long.
There's just too many names for me to say, like, oh, he's the guy. Like, at some point, aren't the Stars going to trade one of these guys? Like, there's a lot of teams that could use a goalie.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. And would it really shock you if they could get decent? If they could get a decent piece, would it really shock you if Ottinger was on the move?
No, I think they're a good team too.
Yeah.
Or they should be a good team.
They should be a good team.
Should be a good team. All right, next name. This one falls under the not so hot category. Cam Talbot. He started off the year hot, but more recently he's been pretty bad. 7 of his 12 games, he's allowed 3 or more goals, and his save percentage has dipped down to .902. So, Cam Talbot, do we think that Kokkonen will get more starts here moving forward?
I think if you're Minnesota Wild, you do. They're in a weird position though, because Talbot is the experienced goaltender, and you want to go with him at every possible opportunity because they're in a real position in the Central where they can win that division and give themselves what's supposed to be an easier run to the Stanley Cup. If it was me, I'd be starting Kokkonen a lot more, but I don't think Talbot's losing that job anytime soon. I don't think Talbot's a good goaltender, but
I don't think he's good either, which is why I asked the question.
Yeah, I don't think he's a good goaltender, but I think he's the experienced goaltender, and I think it's going to take a lot for Minnesota to move away from him. If Minnesota weren't doing as well as they're doing this season, I think it would be a lot easier for management to turn around and say, yeah, we're putting Kokkonen in it. It's his job to lose. But
I don't think Minnesota's that good.
They've started the season really well. I mean, they're second in the Central behind Winnipeg, who have started really well.
To me, they're like St. Louis. Maybe a worse version of St. Louis.
St. Louis have dropped off massively in the last couple of weeks. Like they've not been good. I think if Minnesota go through something like that, I think there's a real possibility that Cat could get the starting job. If Talbot goes around and starts swinging sticks at players' heads and wanting to fight everyone, there's a real possibility they go Kackman.
All right, two more names here. This one might have been the biggest surprise to start the year. Jonathan Quick, he's been on fire. What a renaissance year for him. 198 goals allowed, 935 save percentage. The Kings have actually hung around, won some games. Quick's on a nice little winning streak. Time for Quick to be like the number one goaltender in LA again?
So Drew Doughty turned around to start the season and said they're finished with the rebuild. They want to win. Those guys are there, Doughty, Kopitar, Quick, all want to win. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think Quick's been so good this season is he knows that this may be his last chance. I actually don't think the Kings are in that bad of a position because you keep pushing Quick and you keep saying, hey, it's not your starting job yet. You know, we're going to keep rotating you. We're going to keep giving Peterson minutes because Peterson's your goaltender of the future. And he's shown that he can be really good. If you keep that pressure on Quick and he keeps performing the way he is, you're in a win-win situation. You're the LA Kings and you keep pushing for that top three in the Pacific because right now the top three in the Pacific are Anaheim, Edmonton, and Calgary. One of them three teams will still be come the end of the season. Your two won't be. So
I think it'll be Calgary.
Have a real chance. They'll still be there.
I think Calgary and Edmonton will be there.
I think you've lost your plot. I seriously think Calgary.
I think Calgary's good.
They're decent.
That was my team before the year started. Calgary.
Again, they've started the season well, but that's another thing that I'm just not convinced by every time I see them.
I'm the opposite.
But
I like Calgary.
Yeah, quick. That he. I don't want to say he's definitely back, but it's definitely a win-win situation right now for the Kings if he continues to play the way he is.
All right, last name on the list here, not so hot, Thatcher Demko. He got lit up by the Knights. He got lit up by the Avalanche. His stats on the year is a .333 goals allowed and .898 save percentage, mostly because, Colorado and Vegas hammered him. 7 goals each. Thatcher Demko, worried about him?
Yes and no. Yes, because he's on my fantasy team. No, because he's playing the Avalanche tonight. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Last two games have been bad. Other than that, he's been okay. He's been decent. He's brought off some really good saves. I think he's in a situation where he could be pulled because Halak proved in Boston that he can run with the glove for a long time. He can be your starter if your starter's one not playing well or two injured.
Vancouver's a team that they're down bad right now, so they need to either pick up some wins here or they're donezo.
Yeah. They've got their players, they've got their stars, they've got Peterson, they've got Hughes. They're another team like the Oilers that need to figure it out. Need to start putting. Yeah, here's the thing. Everyone talked in that first year, in their rookie year, everyone talked about how close it was between Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes. Now, Cale Makar has been injured a lot of this season and missed a number of games. No one's even talking about Quinn Hughes.
I like him.
He just fell off. I don't think he's a bad player, but it's just like he fell off the edge of the earth. No, all of a sudden, Cale Makar's still in that conversation for being the best defenseman in the league if he's healthy. But Quinn Hughes at one point was thereabouts. Now it's Adam Fox. He's the new name. Quinn Hughes is still
Adam Fox scores every night somehow.
Quinn Hughes is still a good defenseman, but he's not being as predominant for Vancouver as he was in that kind of rookie year where him and Cam McCarr were going neck to neck for the Calder. He was really there was a real possibility that Cam McCarr was not going to win that year because Quinn Hughes had been really, really good. He just that standard just every time I watched him, he seems to doubt himself now. He seems to second guess what he's going to do with the puck, and it's given those forwards that split second extra to close him down or to get the puck off him. Like it's one thing he won't be able to do tonight because if the top line is what we think it's going to be with Rantanen and Landeskog and O'Connor, Rantanen and O'Connor and Landeskog are going to hound you down. They're gonna hound that puck down from you, and he's not going to have time to be on the puck and to second guess it. He needs to get back. I think it's the same as what it is with a lot of players. It's a confidence thing, and right now I don't think Quinn Hughes' confidence is there. And
one more note I have to
They need
I have
him
to make sure
Peterson to be good.
I have to make sure I note this. Emma Brown turned down Seth Jarvis, but Seth Jarvis is kind of hot right now. He scored again last night, and he's been moved up to the first line with Aho and Svechnikov. So Seth Jarvis is on the first line, so maybe Emma Brown should reconsider him.
They beat the Golden Knights last night as well, so you know.
And he scored. There. And he scored.
Bonus points there. But
so
yeah,
do we think Emma Brown should reconsider this one?
What was the problem? He was smaller.
He wasn't tall enough.
Oh no, he was smaller than 5'10". He's like 5'8" or something like that. Each to their own. I think he's a good player, and I think he's got a future. And as I said on one of the episodes, I'm just looking out for Emma. I want her to be a captain.
Yeah, same.
You know, she doesn't have to worry about anything. I think Seth Jarvis is going to get paid. I think he's going to be one of those players that gets big bucks somewhere. Whether it's in Carolina, I don't know, but it'll be somewhere. Yeah. It might be in Montreal. Montreal offer sheet. There we go.
Can you imagine they play this game back and forth every few years?
It'd be fantastic. It'd give you something to talk about in the off season at least.
Yeah. All right. Those are the only notes I have prepared. So if you have anything else, feel free to jump in with something.
I'm very hurt that Jack Campbell wasn't on the hot or not goaltenders. He's
been hot, but I felt like we talked about him last week. So
he is freaking hot right now.
Yeah.
I think.
How many goalies would you take ahead of Jack Campbell right now?
How many goaltenders would I take ahead of him? Like in fantasy?
Yeah. You're building a team. You're trying to win a Stanley Cup. How many goalies do you want ahead of Jack Campbell?
You take Vasilevsky because you know at some point he's going to come good. He's going to come good. You need him to come good. Jesus. I mean, you look at last year's 3 finalists, and Vasilevsky's the only one you would take, right? Fleury is doing decent, but he's with a bad team in Chicago, so maybe that one. But Grubauer is having an absolute fucking nightmare in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, nightmare. We play him Friday. It's either going to be one or two things.
Might be a bloodbath.
He's either going to shut us out, or we're going to put like 6 or 7 past him. No, I think that back. We'll put 3 or 4 past him, and then they'll pull him. But yeah, I mean, Vasilevsky just because he's been there and he's done it before. Carter Hart, maybe. But, I mean, the one thing you've got to give Campbell is he's doing it in a market that is rough. Like, if you do not perform, then Maple Leaf fans let you know real quick.
It's been awesome.
He's been absolutely amazing.
It's Dubas' best trade ever.
Yep. Yeah, Dubas got something right. You're here first.
All right, Gavin, this was fun. Any other notes? Andrew just messaged us, so I think he's gonna miss this week.
Too late, Andrew.
Yeah.
Do you think he can go undefeated in fantasy?
I think I got a shot. I think I got a shot.
Too, and that really fucking worries me. That really worries me.
I think I got a shot. We can end the show on this. We can end the show on this. We're gonna make a trade, I believe.
Yes, we are gonna.
Do you have any thoughts on the trade?
I'm surprised by here giving up. I kind of understand why, because he's on a really bad team. So the trade is Nick Suzuki for Max Pacioretty. So the actual trade that happened is happening.
Yes.
I think he's a really good player in a really bad team. I think Montreal can
I
get
agree.
their stuff together. It can be a major part of Montreal getting it together and could put up a lot of points.
I agree.
But my thing right now is I'm using it as a stopgap because Byram's going to be out for a while and McKinnon's obviously out for a while. Yeah. I want to put both of them on injured reserve. Need to offload Pacioretty to do that. Yeah.
I like Suzuki. I think if
need to do some
Knights had to do it over again, they would have never made that trade.
No, definitely not.
But
definitely not.
I don't like the fact that he plays for Montreal. So I feel like it's kind of even.
Yeah. The fact that Pacioretty is injured as well. And it's probably going to be out for a while. But yeah. The whole Bone Barning really messed me up. You know, and
he's been doing well too.
Yeah. And the fact that if it is what we think it is, which is a concussion, there's no timetable on that.
Is there a shot he makes the Olympic team?
No.
No shot.
I don't think he was making the Olympic team anyway. Just because there's too many players ahead of him. But I think if you're looking at a seventh defenseman, then yeah, I think he probably could have went. But I think there's too many players ahead of him.
When is the Olympics? We should maybe plan a show for that.
We should. Yeah. And then when it comes back, we'll see all the players go back to normal because they're all not playing to get onto the Olympic teams anymore. It'll go back to normal.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? I think this was good. 54 minutes. All right. That's Gavin. Make sure to follow him. G__Daly. Myself, Trey Daubert. Eventually we'll have show handles for this, maybe. I don't know. We'll have a rotating guest. Maybe if we find more hockey people, we'll have them join. Still waiting for Ryan Schwager to make his debut, but we'll see who's in for next week. Other than that, make sure to hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you're watching after the fact, and we will see you next week.